Flying between London in the UK to Melbourne, Australia is about as far as you can travel with an airline on a single ticket. The marvel of flight takes about 22 hours in the air. But what if the airline throws in a 15-hour transit stop in the mix? How will we even stay awake with our body clocks so many hours out of whack? How do we even remain fresh as a daisy in this tropical humidity hell-bent on marinating parts of our body where the sun don't shine? Well, let's find out.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
And good morning guys, I'm coming to you from Vietnam and this is Ho Chi Minh City. Behind me is Thanh Market, and if you've been following my travel series, you know I just got off a flight from London earlier this morning. So I'm trying to keep awake because I've got a long transit. My flight back to Australia doesn't leave until later tonight. So I decided to leave the airport and come out and walk around Ho Chi Minh City, and this is what I'm gonna do to try and keep myself awake because I've got a hotel waiting, but the room is not ready until about 12ish. Yeah, so I'm out here in Ho Chi Minh City right now, so come along with me to see what I can get up to during my very long transit here in Ho Chi Minh City. Let's do this.
Thanh Ho Chi Minh is Vietnam's largest and most populous city, home to some 9.3 million people. You may have heard the name Saigon, which was the name of this city before 1976. Back then, it was the capital city of the Republic of Vietnam. Post-Vietnam War, with the North and South unified into a single country, the capital is now located up north in Hanoi. However, Ho Chi Minh City today remains the country's economic center. And here is a little surprising fact. It has been ranked the world's 111th most expensive city to live in. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan. Born and bred in Singapore, I now call Australia home, and I create heaps of travel and foodie content. This trip is a small part of a wider travel series which sees us set foot in 7 countries over 2.5 weeks. Our first stop was Singapore, where we went to France and then ended up in Malta, where we'd spend most of our time in. From there, we traveled through Italy, Switzerland, UK, and finally Vietnam before returning home to Australia. So this travel series will include heaps of flight reviews, train journeys, and destination vlogs to last a few months, and they will be linked in the description below as and when they're published. If you don't wish to miss any episodes, make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell icon so you'll get notified whenever they go to air. Giving me a like will encourage me to keep content flowing. So here's a thanks, because your support is very much appreciated. One thing you'll first notice as you arrive into Ho Chi Minh is the amount of motorbikes. They are literally buzzing everywhere like flies swarming around an overripe papaya. Because of this, you'll have to learn how to cross the road. And this is a serious lesson, so pay close attention. You see, there are pedestrian crossings marked all over the city roads. Whether anyone bothers to slow down for you is another story. So the trick here is to walk confidently and not stop. And the motorcycles will somehow magically weave around your moving body. Ironically, accidents happen when tourists panic and stop walking in the middle of the road. So remember, keep on walking like Johnny Walker. But if you see a car, don't be silly because you cannot win that battle. This bit of not stopping only works with motorbikes. So take a deep breath, then take your first step. Otherwise, you'd be standing at one side of the road and you will forever remain there if you don't start walking. We arrived into a city which was just waking up on a muggy Sunday morning. And a walk along the riverfront of Đường Tân Đức Thắng is a great way to take it all in. It's here I launched the drone to try and capture the absolutely modern skyline of this sprawling metropolis. But the haze from all that burning in the countryside shrouded much of the scenery. Much like large parts of Southeast Asia, the coffee shop culture is truly well and alive here in Vietnam. I will do the traditional drinks later on at the markets and show you what that's like. But this coffee shop inspiration has unsurprisingly given birth to an endless list of Vietnamese cafe brands, with new ones popping up every other month. Each of them tripping over themselves, promising to deliver a fresher and more modern experience. And the extremely warm and humid weather in Ho Chi Minh City is perfect for the desperate like me, wanting to cool down after that wintry chill in Europe. For this, we have Phúc Long Coffee and Tea House. A sip of a refreshing ice-cold milk tea made from lotus leaves is the perfect way to start the morning. This trip to Vietnam was done during the first week of January. So the major holiday of Tết, which is the start of the Vietnamese New Year, was only a couple of weeks away. This explains why you'll see the flood of people dressed here in their best áo dài, busy snapping their photos, selfies, Wi-Fis, and all this would be displayed on their respective social media accounts in good time, commemorating the start of Tết. And everyone would want to have this iconic landmark in their background. Welcome to Chợ Bến Thành, which has been the focal point of this city for over a century. Bến Thành Market was simply known as Saigon Market prior to 1976. In fact, many South Vietnamese, especially those of my vintage, will refer to this location by its original name instead of the one today. The origins of this market dates back to the early 17th century, with street vendors gathering along the river. When the French colonized Vietnam in 1859, a cluster of wooden structures were constructed in this location, and the street vendors were then moved here to properly regulate them. Unfortunately, a fire in 1870 destroyed the market, which was then replaced by the structure we see today. The French influence is very evident in the architectural facade, and this design language has been replicated throughout Vietnam during French rule, when many similar facades in different reiterations were being used in construction. Holding such a prominent location in central Ho Chi Minh City, there's no sugarcoating the fact that this market is a giant tourist trap. Despite that, I like coming here because there is this intangible, energetic buzz in the air. However, be prepared to be swarmed by vendors coming within your safe space vying for your dollar. I call it the white man's curse, because they mostly crowded around my husband and ignored me. So you'd need to stand your ground, walk away, and learn the art of not engaging.
This is the whole reason why I came to the market, is to eat. Besides buying your souvenirs, you've got this whole heap of rows after rows after rows of food stalls. It does not get any better than this.
I have my personal favorites as far as international cuisines are concerned. Having grown up in a multicultural family, we were taught from a young age to open our minds to foods outside the realms of what we're used to. Vietnamese cuisine remains at the top cluster of my go-to foodie fix. For the uninitiated, this market, despite its touristy nature, is a good springboard to what this country can offer. Australia has no shortage of great Vietnamese food, and due to our humongous Vietnamese population down under, authenticity is never a worry. But I found the Aussie Vietnamese menu normally revolves around phở, banh mi, bún salads, and broken rice dishes. Don't get me wrong, they're awesome. But I'd like to try something else here that I cannot get back in Australia, at least in Adelaide where I live. And for this, I turn my attention to Ban Cuốn Tan Chi, delicate films of steamed rice rolls, which are expertly lifted from the fabric steamer with a single wooden chopstick. They are then sprinkled generously with flavorful minced pork and mushrooms, folded into a tiny bite-sized roll, and just like that, they are ready to be consumed. If you are familiar with the steamed rice rolls of a regular yam cha session, this is really no different. Because the Vietnamese version is more demure because of its small size. The little bowl of nước chấm is a very common Vietnamese dipping condiment, and the funky fish sauce is balanced with vinegar, sugar, and lime, making it rather refreshing. I chose to have a serve of bánh tôm chiên bột, which is a deep-fried shrimp cake. Needless to say, after 2.5 weeks of yogurt, fruits, ham and cheese for brekkie, what you see here this morning is definitely a brekkie for the champions. Vietnam takes their coffee very seriously, which is why I'm always the first in line to have it. Ultra strong, dark roasted, and sweetened with condensed milk. This is not some washed up dishwater you'd find at Starbucks, because the punchy aroma of this blend runs circles around the so-called Seattle experts. I'll never understand why would people flock to American coffee chains when we can have something like this for a fraction of the price. And this was definitely welcomed, looking at how much I was sweating at this point. I've flown 13 hours from London to get here. You did not think that was the end of my meals, did you? For my next one, I had my eyes set on some thịt nướng. Anywhere in the world you go, you can never go wrong with char-grilled meat skewers. And this morning, we have these evil-looking pork skewers. And I'll never say no to the Vietnamese grill marinade, which includes lemongrass, fish sauce, chili, garlic, ginger, and sugar. As exhausted as I am from jet lag, this was definitely worth staying awake for. And more refreshing drinks followed as I had a serve of ice-cold rehydrated Long An tea with bits of jelly in it.
Man, those pork skewers were delicious. I need to walk some more so I can eat some more. I really have to pace myself here. Otherwise, I'll eat too much too quick. Not a good thing. But it's a problem. When you come here, you want to eat everything. That's why I really need to pace myself.
I was a little too ambitious, really. By now, the humidity was really getting to us, so we sought refuge at one of the many cafes surrounding the market. I felt bad just sitting there, so I ordered myself some ice oolong tea to cool down. And while my husband waited here, I ran across the road to get an hour's worth of foot massage, which on hindsight wasn't such a good idea. I was trying to stay awake, and that massage put me to sleep, and according to the staff, I was snoring. Great.
I just had a foot massage and I can hardly keep my eyes open now. So I think this is a good time to head back to the hotel to see if the rooms are ready, because we went there straight after the airport, and of course we arrived at 6 AM this morning. I didn't expect the room to be ready. So yeah, I think it's time, because my body is really giving up now. So yeah, it's time to head to the hotel.
We got off the plane from London at 6 AM, and our flight to Melbourne was due to depart at 9 PM. So with an entire day ahead of us, I chose to stay at the Ibis Saigon airport. As the name suggests, this airport is very conveniently located opposite Tan Son Nhut Airport. It cost me 110 Australian dollars per night, but we would be checking out later this evening. Still, I thought having a hotel to shower, freshen up, and take a nap would be heavenly. The rooms are basic, as you would expect from the Ibis, but it had the usual works of a comfy bed, charging ports, and complimentary Wi-Fi. And that's all one really needs. On the rooftop, there's even a swimming pool looking towards the airport. Definitely a great way to spend a couple of hours resting for your journey ahead. I gotta be honest here. After we got to the hotel, both of us collapsed into bed utterly exhausted, having woken up at 5 AM in London yesterday. Adding in the time spent at Heathrow Airport, the actual flight itself, and leading up to this point meant we have been awake for just over 23 hours. We did wake up for dinner, where we ate some more, enjoying the culinary delights Ho Chi Minh City had to offer, before we packed up and left for our flight home. You think this 15-hour transit is long? Our next journey from Melbourne to London, yes, we are heading back to Europe again next month with China Southern Airlines, sees us spend 19 hours in Guangzhou. What is the longest stopover on a single ticket have you experienced? Because as far as I'm concerned, life is so much more interesting with lengthy stops like this one here. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. For now, let's join live Ryan at the Ibis before he collapses into bed into a much needed slumber.
So guys, here I am, settled into my hotel room at the Ibis just across from Tan Son Nhut International Airport here in Ho Chi Minh City. So yeah, this is my Ho Chi Minh. I'm only here for about 15 hours, so I could only handle the market. You know, I could only eat so much because I'm really exhausted right now. I'm struggling to keep my eyes open. Well, this is what happens when you are traveling such long distances and dealing with jet lag, right? Anyway, so I've chucked details of my Instagram on your screen right now, so hit me up there and chuck me a follow so you can actually see what am I up to in real time, and also it gives you an idea of the type of videos that will be coming up on my YouTube channel. Anyway, more importantly, do not forget to hit subscribe and the bell notification icon, and I will see you for the next episode, which is also the final episode of this travel series on Vietnam Airlines to take me back to Melbourne from right here in Ho Chi Minh City. In the meantime, take care you guys, and I will see you for my next video. Bye!